Senator McCAIN of Arizona is not a member of this committee, but given that very serious allegations have been raised about treatment in Phoenix, Senator McCAIN requested to come before the committee, and we welcome him today. Senator.
I thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank you for the opportunity to make a brief statement this morning, particularly given that many of the serious allegations that will be discussed at today's hearing involve the treatment of veterans in my home state of Arizona. Since our nation's founding, Americans have been fighting in faraway places to make this dangerous world safer for the rest of us. They've been brave, they've sacrificed and suffered. They bear wounds and more losses they will never completely recover from, and we can never fully compensate them for. But we can care for the injuries they suffered on our behalf and for their physical and emotional recovery from the battles they fought to protect us. Decent care for our veterans is the most solemn obligation a nation incurs, and we will be judged by God and history how well we discharge ours. That's why I'm deeply troubled by the recent allegations of gross mismanagement, fraud, and neglect at a growing number of Veterans Administration medical centers across the country. It's been more than a month since allegations that some 40 veterans died while waiting for care at the Phoenix VA were first made public. To date, the Obama administration has failed to respond in an effective manner. This has created in our veterans community a crisis of confidence toward the VA, the very agency that was established to care for them. At a town hall forum I hosted in Phoenix last week, the families of 4 veterans who passed away in recent months stood before a crowded room to tell their stories. With tears in their eyes, they described how their loved ones suffered because they were not provided the care they needed and deserved. They recalled countless unanswered phone calls and ignored messages, endless wait times, mountains of bureaucratic red tape, while their loved ones suffered debilitating and ultimately fatal conditions. No one should be treated this way in a country as great as ours. But treating those to whom we owe the most so callously, so ungratefully, is unconscionable, and we should all be ashamed. Since the initial reports in Arizona last month, we've seen this scandal go nationwide, surfacing in at least 10 states across America. Secretary Shinseki has ordered a nationwide audit to look at the management practices at VA medical centers. Several employees have been placed on administrative leave, and the VA Office of Inspector General is investigating the Phoenix VA. I respect the important role of the Inspector General, but my fellow veterans can't wait many months it may take to complete its report. They need answers, accountability, and leadership from this administration and Congress now. Clearly, the VA is suffering from systemic problems in its culture that require strong, reform-minded leadership and accountability to address. At the same time, Congress must provide VA administrators with greater abilities to hire and fire those charged with caring for our veterans. Most importantly, we must give veterans greater flexibility in how they get quality care in a timely manner rather than continue to rely on a department that appears riddled with systemic problems in delivering care. How we care for those who risked everything for us is the most important test of a nation's character. Today, we are failing that test. We must do better tomorrow, much better. For the 9 million American veterans enrolled in the VA today, and for the families whose tragic stories we heard last week in Phoenix, who I know are still grieving their losses, it's time we live up to Lincoln's injunction, which serves as the VA's model today, to care for him who shall have borne the battle, and for his widow and his orphan. As I said, it's time for answers, accountability, and leadership from this administration, and I look forward to hearing from Secretary Shinseki. I thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I thank Ranking Member Burr and the members of this committee.